The Houston Chronicle has every available person covering the monster storm and catastrophic flooding that has wreaked havoc on its hometown. Joining us now from Houston is Vernon Loeb, the paper's managing editor. And Vernon, just on a personal level, what happened early on when you tried to walk to your newsroom from your home 4.5 miles away?
I found water up to my waist about 2 blocks from my apartment. It was Sunday morning, and it was, I knew a big storm was coming, but I was really sort of emotionally unprepared for just how much water was everywhere. And our initial challenge really was just sort of getting a few people into the newsroom and then sort of deploying from there. We basically told everybody, if you can't get in, work from home, start reporting from your community and stand by, and we'll send you where we need you to go as the day proceeds. Interesting
that you say you were emotionally unprepared, as I'm sure almost everybody was, for the sheer magnitude of this hurricane. You've reported from Afghanistan, you've done other kinds of tough reporting, but this is very different, and people have kept asking you, are you okay?
Yeah, all week. You know, it's one thing to go to a war and to be embedded with soldiers and, you know, be prepared for such an extraordinary event. It's quite another thing to have that extraordinary event, like, come to your neighborhood, not just to your neighborhood, but to really an entire city all of a sudden on one morning. I remember thinking, as I'm sort of slogging my way into work, where is all this water going to go? I mean, I think the latest count is something like 27 trillion gallons. And I think everybody sort of reacted that way. And then, you know, your sort of instincts as a journalist kick in and you just start reporting.
Yeah, we've been showing some pictures of the devastation taken by your Houston Chronicle photographers. How much of a strain is it, not just on you, but all of your colleagues, including people who don't ordinarily cover this kind of news, working day and night while they have their own flooded homes and their own families to deal with?
Yeah, I think this is the first time in my career where I put the entire paper on one story because, you know, nothing else mattered at that point. We had numerous staff members lose their houses. A couple lost everything. Other people, almost everybody, had some sort of flood damage. I put a big narrative in play on Monday, the second day of the storm, and we published today a 6,500-word narrative. And 2 of the writers were sort of telling me, yeah, I'd love to do this, but I'm watching the water creep up to my front door, and let me get back to you.
Yeah.
And luckily they were okay. One of them actually had evacuated his house. He lived in this place called Sienna Plantation, which got hit by tornadoes on day 1. So he had evacuated and was sort of able to work. So I had this team of writers, sort of evacuees, themselves, working on this narrative.
You know, it's heartbreaking to hear these details because in a crisis, we all want to do our jobs as journalists, and you got to worry about your family and your house. And, you know, just briefly, journalists take a lot of abuse, and some of it is well-deserved. But something like this happens, you really see the value of journalism in a crisis.
Yeah, absolutely. It was so inspiring to me to see everybody step up and not only, you know, be available, but to say, you know, I want to do more. Where can I go? We've had a bunch of people who just won't stop working. You do reach sort of physical and perhaps even more important, sort of emotional exhaustion
right
at the end of the week. So we're starting to tell people, you know, go home, take a day off, and some of them, I just can't get to stop.
Well, it's a problem most editors would like to have, but the paper has done a remarkable job. Your online traffic is way up. Vernon Loeb, thanks very much for joining us from Houston.
My pleasure, Howie. Thank you.